Hey, what's up, guys? It's been a while, but I'm back, and I'm going to do an official review of my Strandberg Boden Standard 6 with the Tremolo. I've been playing it for quite a while now, several months, and I've gotten to jam at band practice. I've pretty much exclusively been playing it here at home almost every single day, and I've really gotten a good feel of what this instrument is, how it compares to my other guitars, what I like, what I don't like, all that kind of stuff. So let's get going here. Spec wise, it's pretty standard super strat thing. You got your humbucker, 2 single coils. This single coil has been replaced by a DiMarzio Area 61. I know it's a very popular pickup swap for the Strandberg guys. Honestly, I feel like for $2,000, we should have noiseless pickups for the single coil pickups. I get that some of the purists want that authentic Fendery sound that the standard single coil non-stacked coils deliver, but I feel like for a guitar like this, the one without the pick guard, it needs the noiseless pickups. And for the one with the pick guard that looks more traditional, like a Strat, that one can probably get away with having the noisier pickups. But for this one, this should have been noiseless from the factory, and it probably wouldn't have cost them hardly anything to make that change. Other pickups, I mean, they don't sound bad. I mean, I'll get that out of the way. They sound good. They just are noisy, like any typical non-noiseless single coil pickup. The humbucker, on the other hand, is fantastic. I was dead set on swapping this thing out with either a bare knuckle. I was looking at the Pete Thorn Thornbucker Plus pickup also. I've kind of been wanting to give that a try, but honestly, I think that this is a very good pickup. It's really well balanced. It has a really good lower mid range that I really like, and it's gonna stick around for at least a while. I've been very happy with it for leads, rhythm, heavy stuff. It just really does a lot of things really well. So I have no complaints there. Let's see. Knobs, these smooth knobs, man, come on, they gotta go. They suck. Especially if you're, if you're playing, if you sweat when you play. Like, I don't really sweat that much, but every now and then, like, I'll have, a drink or something like that, and put it back in the little drink holder on the mic stand, and my hands are a little bit wet from the glass or whatever, and it doesn't work. So I swapped out the volume pot knob for one that's knurled. So let's see if I can get. So yeah, there you go. So it's got a little bit of knurling on it. I think this was the one that came from my Charvel when I swapped that out. But I've got another couple of black knobs, but they don't match this one exactly, and I'm kind of weird about that. So I might just get a different set of knurled black knobs and swap both of these out. Let's see what else. Tremolo's great. The one thing that I kind of don't like, but I think it might be a setup thing, is that this is a very stiff tremolo arm, and I've backed out the little adjustment screw. Let's see if you can see, catch the light, but there's a little bitty screw there. There you go. And it puts tension on that little bushing that the arm slides down into, and even with the screw completely removed, it's still a really tight fit and doesn't like swing down the way that I kind of would like it to. But it's a minor gripe, and especially coming from the Edge Pro tremolo on the Ibanez, where it would screw down, but even when it was tight, if you backed off just a little bit so that the arm could swing freely, it would then loosen it up so you could feel like a little bit of wobble before the tremolo actually started to move around. So it's a trade-off, and there's an internal screw that you can't get to unless you, I guess, take the tremolo apart, because you can't get to it from the cavity. So there's another screw in there that I think might actually loosen this up a little bit, but I haven't really dug into that yet. It's not that big of a deal, but anyways. This hole right here, I kind of wish that there was like a little cap. That would be a nice little aesthetic thing, I guess. Just a little cap, maybe with like the little star thingy that's at the end of the logo. That would be kind of cool. But these are little minor gripes. Let's see, what else do I'll kind of get the bad stuff out of the way first because there's a lot of stuff that I do like about this guitar. So anyways, other things that I don't really like, probably my main gripe is this jack placement right there. There's no way around it. This thing digs into your hip or your thigh or your leg or whatever when you're playing, and as a result, I kind of play it like almost like this, like when I'm standing up, and you'll see in a minute when I play. But it needs it needs to be deeper in if you're going to be using a standard, straight jack. I've tried the angle jacks and they basically just like push straight up against your legs, so they really don't work either. A low profile, almost like a pedal board kit thing where you build your own cables. One of those with a straight out thing where the jack itself is only like maybe about a ½ inch in size. Something like that probably would work well. I haven't tried out. I've got some George L's cables, but none of them are straight out. They're all right angle. So I don't know. It's not a big deal. I've gotten used to it, but it's one of those things where I always know that it's there, but I've just sort of gotten used to the fact that it's always there. Let's see what else. The fan frets, man, these things are cool. I love that they're stainless steel. That's, obviously one of my likes. Big fan of not having to pay for a refret job. But my brain still has not gotten over the fact that when I look down, the frets don't look right. And that's just coming from over 2 decades of looking at a guitar neck and seeing straight frets. And now when I look down at this, everything looks about fine until I right there, and then you start seeing like this. It's like an optical illusion, like something's wrong, like something is happening that's wrong, and the frets are kind of going backwards. And it kind of messes with your head a little bit. If I don't look at the fretboard, I'm fine. I can play fine without it. But if I sort of like don't look straight down, if I kind of look more like an angle like this when I'm playing, my brain, it doesn't really register my brain. But the more upright the guitar is and I look down, that's when it looks a bit skewed, and there's a little part of my brain that still goes a little bit haywire in just a very specific way. It does not affect my playing at all, but it affects my, it can throw me out of it just a little bit mentally, but it's not that big of a deal. Again, it's one of those things that I've gotten used to. The other big thing mentally that I had to adjust to was not having extra stuff here. I'm used to more guitar being here, and I guess in my peripheral vision, seeing extra guitar there has made me think that, I know where I am on the fretboard, but without the headstock there is sort of like this extra reference. This kind of feels like a lower fret than it actually is. Like this sometimes used to feel like the 5th fret instead of the 7th fret, if that makes any sense, because I'm just so used to a certain amount of extra stuff being here outside of my immediate focal range that I knew exactly where I was on the fretboard, and now with this stuff missing, everything feels kind of scooted this way a little bit. It's really, really weird. I can't explain it, but that's the best thing that I can think of, because that's what comes to my head. The other thing that I don't like, let's see, I'll pull up my notes here. I do know that I don't like that there's no cover for the tremolo cavity. I wish there was something there, even if it was just like a little plastic cover, a little magnetic cover, just something there. It feels weird because I can kind of feel this opening against my hip sometimes when I'm playing. But again, it's not that big of a deal. I get why it was removed, but for $2,000, man, throw a little piece of plastic over there. Even if it's optional, give us something there. But it's not routed for that. It's missing the little places where you could put something there, and there's realistically no way that I can attach something unless I cut my own piece of plastic and then put holes in the wood, and I don't really want to do that. Or maybe use some double-sided tape. I don't know. It is what it is, and it's kind of one of those things where, I'm paying a lot of money for this thing, and something covering that up would have been nice, but you know, that was their choice, and it was my choice to buy it, knowing full well that it did not have a cover on there. But you know, I feel like I needed to at least say something. I like that this is metal though. This whole thing, like with the jack and everything, this all comes apart as one piece. The jack is part of the metal pickup, the control cavity cover. But that's about it for the dislikes. The tuning, this is where you tune the guitar, and they're a little bit stiff. That might be by design. If they were looser, then you know it might accidentally slightly go out of tune if you're just really hammering on the tremolo. What else? Oh, I think that I've had to put a little bit of the Big Ben's nut sauce. That's the nut lubricant that I use on the Les Paul. I've had to lube up these saddles just a little bit. I found that in heavy tremolo use, the strings were not quite coming back to perfect pitch after letting go, and I found that the strings were just sort of catching just enough on these saddles that it wasn't sliding properly. And I checked, and there's not any burrs or anything that needs to be polished down or filed or anything like that. It's just that the strings just aren't sliding exactly the way that they probably need to be or were intended to be. But again, I already had the lube in there that for the nut, so throwing that on there, it fixed it right away. That's about it for the things that I don't like. Things that I like, basically everything else. This thing is light as a feather. It is super light, and it's funny, the people that have played it, like first when you pull it out, like it looks like a little toy travel guitar, but it's full size, full scale length, everything like that. So it feels like a normal guitar, but it doesn't look like one, and it doesn't feel like it when you hold it. Like it being so light feels strange. It's almost twice as heavy as my Charvel and Tokai. So it definitely is like a breath of fresh air when you're playing shows and you've got this huge, non-chambered Les Paul for 3.5+ hours on your shoulders. It's a good change from that. But all the wood and guitar that's missing from right here, you definitely feel it just not there because the guitar just sits on your body differently. Is it playtime? Yeah, the guitar just sits on your body differently. Like it's, I don't know. It's one of those things that's hard to describe, but it is a different sensation of physically holding the guitar and playing it. I do like that it makes it sitting. It plays really comfortably sitting down like this in this position. Other than the jack digging into my leg, but the Enduraneck. I thought that the Enduraneck was really going to be the thing that threw me off. And for those of you who aren't aware, see that the neck is not, do this. The back of the neck is not a typical C shape. There we go. It's got this rib to it that goes down and twists. And I thought for sure that was going to be what threw me off more than anything, is feeling this rib kind of awkwardly protruding out of the neck in a not smooth way. But in reality, I was wrong. It feels great, and it's one of those things where at first I felt it, but I didn't feel it in a bad way. I was like, okay, this is how this neck feels. Let's go along with it. And at this point, it feels normal. It feels good, and it feels normal in a great way. And funnily enough, after playing this for so much, when I pick up one of my other guitars, I immediately notice it not being there, and kind of wish it was. So yeah, I love this neck. I love the Enduraneck. I think it's a really cool innovation, and yeah, it's very comfortable to play. Upper fret access, I mean, it's incredible. Super easy to get way up there, effortless. The heel joint is nice and slim. It kind of tapers a little bit towards the neck, so it's not a flat block. It kind of tapers up a little bit there. But yeah, and you can see it. So upper fret access is perfect, you know, even all the way up to the 24th fret on the top string. Just super easy. And other things I like, I already mentioned the stainless frets, that's great. The glow-in-the-dark inlays, those are pretty cool, although it's one of those things where you have to intentionally like hit them with a really bright flashlight or something like that before you can see them glowing. But I've yet to get to use these on a dark stage, but it's something I do want to try at least for that first set. Let's see if I can. There you go. My angle's right. Yep. So there you go. So they kind of, everything's backwards on the camera, so, and there's a delay. But so there you go. Glow in the dark. Fun stuff. So I've talked about the frets, the neck, bridge pickup, tremolo's pretty good. Neck access, upper fret access is great. String changes are easy. It's, you know, these little screws right here push the saddles down, and these things just screw all the way out and kind of slide out. And yeah, it sounds great. It plays great. It feels good. It's comfortable, and I feel like I've absolutely gotten my money's worth. This plays exceptionally well. It sounds good. There's really not much that I've changed other than, hey, dogs, stop. I put the vintage raw tremolo springs in there for a slightly easier tremolo feel. It's not quite as stiff. That's something that I did with the Charvel as well. They feel really good in that guitar, on that tremolo also. But anyways, that kind of is it. I've really been enjoying this guitar. I can't wait to really start playing this thing on stage a lot. I know that it ain't exactly the coolest looking thing, you know, compared to, you know, slinging a, you know, Les Paul, you know, down at your knees or something like that. But I'm also not one of those players that, you know, I'm not, you know, Holsworthing it up here like this. It's, you know, it's comfortably low as much as I'm comfortable having it while, you know, not killing myself. But I understand why people will play it up like this, because the neck feels a little bit better with the like the way your hand moves on there, and it kind of sits along against your body like a little bit better in terms of the whole like output jack, because it's no longer at your leg, it's up here kind of at your torso, and it's not really pushing into anything. But I can't be that big of a nerd on stage. I gotta be cool, man. We play rock and roll. We play AC/DC. We play Metallica. We play Rage Against the Machine and Tool. Yeah, you can't be playing Tool like this. I mean, maybe you can, but I'm not. So yeah, I'm gonna get started playing here. I've got this thing going into my Mesa Boogie Studio preamp into the Fryette Power Station, and I've actually got a couple of new toys on my pedal board, but I'm really not gonna go into them too much here. I've just kind of got them set how I like them. First big thing, I got a Jackson Audio Prism. The thing is killer. I love this thing, but I don't really use it to make a huge impact on the sound. It's my always on pedal now. It can be used as a good boost, but I found that just a slight push in the amp setting, the low gain setting, with most of the knobs just right around noon, with the tone and the body pushed a little bit past noon, makes it really good. It pushes the amp just a little bit without getting in the way, but it still leaves enough room for me to hit the amp with my JHS Klon overdrive, which I do for the really heavy stuff. Alright guys, it's time for y'all to get out of here. It's about to get loud, kids. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Alright. The no fun zone. Thanks, Dad. Okay, oh, the other thing. I've got the NuX Atlantic. It's a combination reverb and delay pedal. Pete Thorne's video on that thing completely sold it for me. It's a extremely simple and straightforward pedal that just has a reverb and delay, and it doesn't try to do anything weird with either of those effects. It has the exact controls you need to tailor 3 pretty good sounding digital reverbs and 3 different sounding delays with a level for each effect. You've got your how much you want the delays to repeat and your time, how you want the delays to slap back. And then for the reverb, you have your reverb level, and then you have the decay, and that's pretty much it. That's all you need. That's all I needed. I didn't need it to do anything weird or fancy or anything like that. As much as I'd love to have, a couple of Strymon pedals, I don't rely on my reverb and delay that much to that degree that I would want to spend a lot of money on those. Chorus pedal, my TC Corona is out. I'm tired of that really, really hard to activate foot switch. Apparently, I think I might have gotten a weird one because my flashback delay did not have a switch like that, and a couple of the other Corona choruses at Guitar Center here in town, they have the little soft switch, but man, mine, you got to push on it like hard click here. Let me show you. Check this thing out. Listen to this. It's like it hits a spot and you have to push it down really hard. It's almost like it's broken in some way. But I could swap out the switch. I know what kind of switch they use, but I'm not gonna. I'll probably just sell it. But I've got my trusty chorus ensemble, the Boss CE5, back on the board. I love this thing. I tried a Waza chorus. I still have it, but it's on my acoustic pedal board now. It sounds great, but it's very, very... It has one sound, pretty much, and it's a very good chorus sound if you like that. But it was a little bit too loud when you turn it on for whatever reason, and there's no actual level on the chorus pedal, so it's on my acoustic board now. And yeah, that's it. I'm using the Master Effects Raven Overdrive is in my effects loop as my solo boost, and it pushes the gain just a tad, and it pushes the level just enough to solo with. And so yeah, I'm gonna get started here. I've said I'm gonna play here like 3 times, but I'm actually gonna play now. I've got Splon 412, Mesa Studio preamp, Fryat Power Station, and I've got a little room mic. And it's going to the Splon cabinet with a pair of K100s and a pair of Scumbag H75s. Here we go. Alright, none of the pedals are on, by the way. This is bone dry right now. I'll do the Prism, and then I'll kick on the Klon so it'll have just tons of gain. And then I'll show you guys a little bit of the Atlantic, what I have it set up to do. Alright, here's the Prism. So you can hear it's a very, very subtle difference. Like it pushes it just a little bit. Just a little bit. Alright, now I'm going to do the Klon, and the volume and the tone are both at noon, and the gain is about 9 o'clock. lost chorus. Turn that off. Turn a little reverb on here. So on the hall setting. And there's a cool trick with this thing is if you hold down the reverb, depending on which reverb setting you're on, it can kind of turn it to an infinite hold, and it kind of releases out when you let go of the switch. The hall reverb does that. If you have it on the plate reverb, it'll do that little shimmery thing. But I like it doing on the hall, so you can hold it like this. And this is the shimmer thing that it does. And even though I'm still holding it down, it doesn't hold it indefinitely. I kind of wish it did. That would be neat, but it doesn't. But anyways, so yeah, and delay. Turn the chorus off. Turn that decay down some. Let's tune down. That was another thing I was worried about. So I have the detune on the Charvel, and it's kind of a quick like pop it and then make a little quick tune adjustment. But I mean, like you just saw, I mean, it's done. It's done. It's got a good range of adjustment for this top string, and you're able to go from E to D. You're able to drop that full step in no time. I honestly think it might be a touch quicker doing it on this one if I'm watching my tuner. Might be a touch quicker to go up and down from standard to drop on this guitar. So that was an added bonus. It's one of those things where I wasn't thinking about it until I got the guitar, and I was like, oh crap, can I actually do this? Because we do switch back and forth during our shows. So if you're wondering about that, that's how the answer to your question. So anyways, all right, let's see. No pedals besides the reverb. right, there's the prism. You can hear every note. You can hear every note in those chords. This pickup is such a clear pickup. I don't know who makes these, but it is not a junk pickup. It's not one of those throwaway OEM pickups that you find in a lot of the other overseas guitars. This thing, it sounds good. Here comes the Klon. right, the end. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.